Alright guys, it's time to talk about Portal on the channel for the first time since this candle right here on May the 16th, guys. Now I want to go ahead and say it's going to be a little bit difficult for me to make some videos in the next couple of days. I will be traveling, but let's jump into this coin. It is up about 35% at the moment. Now the difference between May the 16th and today is basically we broke this trend line finally as of yesterday. Actually, if we zoom in, we can take a look at that a little bit closely. Now we haven't really retested the 4.23 support here. Keep in mind this is a weekly support. All of these green lines are weekly supports and resistances, and yeah, I do think Portal is done with making its downward spiral, we can say. The downward trend has kind of ended. You can see all these blue lines that I marked off, it just signals another lower low. I do believe this is in for higher lows at the moment. We just have to wait and see. Next resistance is up at about 6.16 cents. And yeah, I mean, in my opinion, Portal is going to be one of the better gaming tokens to pick up. I actually sold this though. I think it was above $4, guys. I think like $4.11. And yeah, I have picked up quite a bit of Portal. I have actually DCA'd into some Portal. At one point, I think I just had like a couple of hundred Portal, but now I have about, I think, 750 or something like this. It's not a lot, guys. This is highly, highly speculative, this coin, because this is one of the newer coins. Now, with these new coins, you really have to be careful, and you really have to wait for them to fall about 95% or so. And yeah, I probably started DCAing a little bit too early into this coin, but I only DCA'd a couple of hundred Portal or whatever, my first buy, I can say, and then I started to DCA a little bit more after that. I guess we can't call my first buy a DCA, but basically it was the start of my dollar cost averaging. Now, taking a look at the volume profile here, guys, you can see, I know it's very hard to see actually. The point of control is at about 11.5 cents. Now, we are way down here. We're not even to the halfway point on this candle here. And basically, once we cross about, let's say, 20 to 21 cents, we get this candlestick over here, which is probably about, let's say, 40% of the size of this candlestick. So, the volume drops off very significantly. Now, I also want to point out, the first week it was at $4.30. And like I said, I sold this at like $4.11. I didn't look back for a very long time. Even though I did buy this a little bit too early, I could have held these tokens all the way down. I mean, that would have just been stupid. So I put the money into tokens that had already been proven, for example, Theta or something like this. That's not going to go down 95% unless it's a rug pull. But anyways, that's the volume profile here of Portal. So yeah, we are, at the very bottom, basically. We still have a lot of work ahead. And yeah, I mean, that's what this looks like. Now, looking at the Bollinger Bands on a weekly time frame, you can see that basically it was very wide last summer, about 1 year ago exactly. In November, it did get very narrow. We had a small pop here, but at this moment, we are much more narrow. And these lines are starting to pinch in. So I do think it's going to get a little bit of a pop here on a weekly time frame. Now, the daily time frame is starting to widen just slightly here, but it was quite narrow back in the beginning of July. So you can see if we zoom out a little bit, there are a lot of narrow points. It does have quite a lot of pops, whether it's, to the downside or to the upside. But yeah, it does, you can see here, a little bit of a pinch, maybe a tiny pinch here. But yeah, it did get a pinch in the beginning of July, and that pinch is resulting in some upward action. So I think both on the daily and weekly time frames for the Bollinger Bands, this looks okay. Now, taking a quick look at the RSI and the stochastic, guys, you can see that this is quite low on the RSI. It is pointing to the upside. That's a good sign. It was basically coming out of the oversold territory too. It was just slightly in that, actually. Now, the stoch is coming up pretty heavily. and still in neutral territory, almost a little bit above, I would say, the middle point. So it is okay there on the weekly time frame. Now, the daily time frame is a little bit overbought here on the stochastic, and the RSI is just getting to that point. So probably going to cool down on the daily here shortly. Now, the 4-hour is actually overbought on both the RSI and the Stoch, unfortunately. The 1-hour time frame, again, same deal as the 4-hour, and the 15-minute time frame, yeah, it's getting into the overbought territory. So lower term time frames, guys, this is probably in for a little bit of a cool down, but the longer term time frames look a little bit better, I would say. Now, looking at the MACD, guys, you can see that it has never had a red period in its history. That's kind of interesting. I think I've never looked at Portal on the MACD, but it is still coming up. Now, what is interesting is that it's been kind of flat basically since February of 2025, but it is at a point where the candles look like they're going to start getting a little bit larger. And we do have a couple of dark green weeks here after some lighter green weeks. So you ran kind of the risk of running into, red candles here. But yeah, it does appear it's going to get a little bit better. It's probably going to do something like this now, I would say. It's going to get a little bit bigger wave like it was in the beginning here. Now, on the daily time frame, I don't think, yeah, it's going to have some red periods here, as you see, but yeah, it can run as high as, let's say, 0.0642, let's say, and it's pretty much right at 0, so it's still got a long way to go, but right now it is printing green candles, and you can see it does have that green wave. It did cross this red line back at the end of June, and yeah, it's looking good, I think, on the weekly and daily time frame MACDs. Now, taking a look at the tokenomics, guys, this is about the number 1700 coin. Was much higher back in the day. It has fallen quite a bit. This is probably the lowest number coin that I hold, I think. Now, there is a billion max supply. The circulating supply, guys, is quite low. So this can really run very high very quickly because there's only 167 million out. So keep that in mind. Now, all-time high, here it says $3.36. This is incorrect, like I showed you. It was on Binance, I think, for $4.30 at the top. So it's probably really down like 99.5% still. All-time low was about 19 days ago, guys. If you pick some up there, congratulations. I'm not sure my last DCA, but, it wasn't probably much farther back than this. So I probably got some around 3.5 cents or something, because I have DCA'd recently into this. Now, one thing Portal needs to do a little bit better job is keeping their X a little bit more updated, guys. They don't seem to post very often. Today is the 11th of July. Last post was about 3 days ago. Then they had a post the day before that, but then you can see there was about a 4-day period of nothing. So I would like them to keep the public a little bit more informed. So yeah, they do need to work on that aspect. Now, before I go a little farther in the video, guys, please check out some of my favorite crypto exchanges below. If you use my links, of course, I do get some commission here. I work with 10 exchanges, guys. And yeah, you can check that out here. You can also check out Moodix. There's a free 7-day trial, and you can follow me on X here, guys. Now, taking a look at Bitcoin, it has made new all-time highs today. Actually, the high came in at 118,869, basically, according to Binance. Let's just round it up to 119, guys. Now, my prediction a long time ago, guys, if you go back in history, I always said 80 to 120,000. So we're pretty much at the top. Now, I did say if we have a mega bull run, it can go up maybe to about 150. So, let's see what happens. I'm not saying it's going to 150. I'm not going to change my view. Maybe it hits 125, 130. Guys, this was just an estimate. And, I think my estimate will be pretty good. So let's see what happens. But right now we're at 118. 117, and I don't have any resistance lines up here because it hasn't been here that long. So let's see. It does need to consolidate or continue, going up until it does something like a consolidation, and at that point, we'll reassess everything for Bitcoin. Now, when looking at Ethereum, guys, it's in a little bit different situation because it's been here before. It's sitting around $3,000. It has actually retested the 29.25 today. Now, keep in mind this is a daily, time frame candle here, while these green lines are weekly supports and resistances. So it's looking at this on the wrong time frame, really. But any candle over these lines, the longer the candle, we should say, the better. So yeah, it is looking very, very good for Ethereum at the moment. Next resistance at about $3,071. Now, the total market cap has gone up to 1.8 trillion. It is starting to take out these local highs, so that is a good thing. It's also retested this line here at 1.25 trillion. Next resistance, 1.31 trillion. Now, looking at the dominance, guys, it does have a red candle at the moment. That would make 7 days in a row if it can continue with having a red candle. Now, we are getting very close to the support basically at 64.33, and we have this like 3-year trend line to break, guys. So this is very, very important. After we get through 60.46, this is when I will officially declare that we have, an altcoin season on hand. Now, the dominance also falling like a rock. This is very, very good. People are putting their money back into crypto. So this is what we want to see, guys. We do need to break 4.31%. This is a weekly support. So it's going to be a little bit tough probably to break through this, but we're getting there. And you can see it's falling like a rock. This trend line held it down. That's a good thing. So yeah, people are spending their money once again, finally. If we look at the altcoin season index, guys, it's still at a 27, so it's a little bit slow to respond. But I do think this is going to go up past 30 the next time we see this. Now, if we look at the liquidation heat map, almost 1.3 billion have been wrecked. If you're shorting, guys, not a good thing to do, I would say. Yeah, only 150 million longs. I guess those are very greedy longs have been wrecked. Now, fear and greed, guys, if we take a look, it's at a 71. Yesterday it was also at a 71, but I do feel this is going to go up tomorrow. Now, the bull market peak indicators, 0 from 30 have been hit. Still 100% hold, and I don't think any of these indicators are going to get hit for a long time, guys. Probably several months at least. Now, the best indicator, in my opinion, is the Pi Cycle Top indicator. As you see here, it's very far from crossing. This is going to take a while, guys, so once it crosses, then we can kind of worry. Now, today, economically, we don't have anything of importance. Now, the FedWatch Tools has gone back to a 93.3% chance of not getting a cut. This is kind of weird sometimes. It seems to go back and forth between the numbers. And I don't know if that's just a glitch on the website or what, but that's where, it stands right now, guys. Now, Trueflation, 1.67% inflation, so it's really, really perfect, I would say. Now, crypto bubbles, very good. Actually, the month is finally in the green, so I'm happy to see this. Now, if you want to stake your coins, guys, your portal, go to Coinando. There's only 2 deals found here. Now, I think Binance, I think that's where I have mine, so they do have staking there. So there's at least 3 deals that can be found. And anyways, guys, if you like this video, like, subscribe, activate the bell, share this video with your friends. Check out some of those exchanges that I have below, guys. And yeah, I do thank you for your support. And I'm going to try to make, videos in the next couple of days. It's going to be a little bit tough, so bear with me, guys. And anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one.